Most people believe that they need to train every muscle group 2 to 3 times per week in order to grow. But what if I tell you that training every muscle once per week will give you better results, bigger muscles, and better recovery? And this is why professional bodybuilders are all doing it. So in this video, I will break down this issue in 6 parts. Sixth part being the most important one. So I hope that you will watch this video until the end, so you will understand why you need actually to start training every muscle once per week if you're not doing it for best results. I'm Dr. Nash Jocic, former bodybuilding champion. I competed 46 times and won 17 titles. I'm also an author. I published 9 books and they're all available on my website. So if you want to expand your knowledge and widen your horizons, please click on the link below and you can access my ebooks. I have also trained over 3,000 people and make them get in the best shape of their lives. Now let us dive into today's topic. So in section number 1, I want to explain to you why this system, training every muscle once per week, actually works and why is the best that you can do. So hypertrophy is not just about hitting a muscle often. It's also about stimulus, recovery, and adaptation. So once per week, allow enough intensity in each session without compromising recovery. And natural lifters are often in the situation that they need more recovery. So if you're natural and you're training every muscle twice per week, or maybe three times per week, God forbid, you will hardly ever recover. Yes, you can recover if your training sessions are very short and very light, if they are not intense, and if you don't do enough sets. If you do 3 or 4 or 5 sets per muscle group, for example, with some average intensity, you can train that muscle every week. But as you know from my previous videos, I explained to you what training for hypertrophy means. It means that you go all out, that you go with high intensity, meaning enough sets and enough reps in order to stimulate hypertrophy. So if your training session is intense enough, if you do the right number of sets and right number of reps, and I have videos about perfect number of reps and perfect number of sets, and you are free to see them on my channel, then you will need the whole week to recover that muscle. So once the muscle has been stimulated, catabolized through your training session, you need to recover the muscle before you start training it again. And then once muscle is recovered, you will need to go to the process of adaptation or compensation, meaning growth. So if you hit that muscle before muscle has fully recovered, you will never fully recover the muscle, and also you will never enter the state of growth. This is the reason why even professional bodybuilders who take steroids don't train muscle every day or every other day, the same muscle group, or 2-3 times per week, but they're training it once per week. So even professional bodybuilders cannot recover each muscle group if they train more than once per week. So if you're natural, then yeah, well, it's up to you. You decide. Now in the part number 2, I want to discuss with you the problem with high frequency training. So if you're training muscle 2 to 3 times per week, you actually never recover that particular muscle. But not only that, by training too often, you are going to be overriding your central nervous system, CNS. So it is impossible, literally, to fully recover physically, systemically, not only particular muscle, but the whole system if you keep doing it over and over and over again. For example, if you do bench press, incline press, dips in a chest workout, and then you do it again in 3 or 4 days' time, I mean, this, you will never be able to recover. You will feel that you are just, hitting the wall with your head because you're just doing it for whatever reason, but recovery will never be there. It is impossible to do this if you're training with high intensity and if you're training correctly, properly, with right number of sets and right number of reps with sufficient intensity, as I said. Now, insufficient recovery is first reason. Now you have accumulated fatigue. So that particular section that you're trying to train again, let's say chest, is not only about recovery of the muscle fibers. You have connective tissues, you have ligaments, tendons, units like joint units. They all need to recover, and they need much longer than just muscle fiber. So you need to think about the whole system, not just about particular part of the whole unit that it needs to recover, and also not just about protein synthesis, which will slow down after 72 hours. But you need to think about other things. You need to think about recovery and then adaptation or compensation, meaning growth. So if those things don't happen, I mean, you're just doing it wrong. Training muscle twice per week or 3 times per week will quickly get you into the training plateau. So you will hit the wall. And regardless of how much you try, how good you eat, even if you're taking steroids, you will not be able to recover. You're going to get stuck. Most of the people that I know and I see in the gyms today, they've been stuck for years. They don't change. They don't change by any means, and they still keep going and hitting hard and killing themselves day after day in the gym. And what is the results? You see them next year, they come on the stage, they're still the same like last year. Year after year after year, even competitive bodybuilders. So the problem is that people don't understand. They are completely hypnotized by that mantra that muscle has to be trained 2 or 3 times per week. I was the one also hypnotized by the same mantra, but fortunately I learned in my time to escape from that, and then I actually had the best progress. I will show you that in next video. I will be talking about my personal experience with training muscles 2-3 times per week and also once per week. So in part number 3 now, I want to explain to you why even professional bodybuilders are doing it, why they're training every muscle once per week. So imagine people who are making their living out of bodybuilding. Would they afford to do anything wrong? Oh, but they take steroids, they can do whatever they want. Not true at all. They will always do the best that they can do because they want to be the best that they can possibly be. They make their living out of it. They're not the recreational bodybuilders like most of you. They're professional bodybuilders. This is what they do for a living. And guess what? They all decide to train muscle once per week. Somebody called it, bro system. Seriously? What it means, bro system? Which bro has invented bro system? Apparently it's not scientific enough. Well, if it works in reality, if in the real world that system works, this is the best scientific proof for anything. We don't need some academic in the lab to sit down and calculate what is the best training system for you. Look at the history of bodybuilding. Look everybody. Look Arnold. Look Dorian. Look Ronnie Coleman. They all train muscle once per week most of the time during the year. Arnold used to train muscle twice per week before the show, 8 to 12 weeks. But most of the year he would train muscle once per week. And when bodybuilders started changing that high frequency of training, like that I think started with Dorian Yates, bodybuilders started growing. Everybody got bigger. Oh, but they take more steroids. No, not at all. I know exactly how much people take steroids in 70s, in 80s, in 90s. I've been there myself. They didn't take more. They didn't take actually less. They take the same amount of steroids. Everybody was doing everything possible in order to grow. But the biggest change was training muscle once per week, because first time bodybuilders allow the muscles, the body, to recover fully before they hit it again. So steroids or not, in the real world, the only one we live in, not in some world created of digits, numbers in lab, training muscle once per week has proven over and over again to be the best for muscle growth and recovery, meaning growth. So in the part number 4, I want to talk to you about my own experience and also experience of my clients. So I used to train every muscle once per week, and most of my career during the year, during the off season. And I have I've got fantastic results. I ended up being competitive bodybuilder, heavyweight. I was competing with 102 kgs on the stage, which is in 90s. That was a lot of weight. This was like not many even professional bodybuilders were struggling to get to that weight. So I did train twice per week, and you will be able to read it in my my training diary, which I call Unfiltered Training Diary 1992, which is going to be available for you soon. I will announce that. And you can read about my 16 weeks of my preparation for that nationals in 1992, which I won. And actually, I will explain everything about my preparations. I will explain everything about training, my diet, and also steroid cycle for 16 weeks. So if you're interested, if you want to know how I did it, you will have the chance to get it and download it from my website. Now, yes, I used to train every muscle once per week. I had fantastic results. But then before the show, I will start training that more often. Now, when I look back, I managed to get out of that vicious cycle of training muscle twice per week, but that was only like 12 to 16 weeks, usually 12 weeks before the competition. But I would end up completely exhausted. So it would take me maybe a good month or 6 weeks to fully recover. I was completely drained. My body, my mind, my central nervous system, like everything was just gone because of that training muscle twice per week. Now later on, when I came to UK in '93, I learned from other pros who were around me, and we trained together, like people like Brian Buchanan, Ian Wadley, and Amory Francis, JD, and others. I learned from them that Dorian Yates as well, and I learned from them that training muscle once per week is all you need to do. So I started training muscle once per week, and as you can see now on these photos, I was much bigger, I was much fuller, and I also ended up in fantastic competitive shape, size, and condition. So if I can go back now, if I can get myself back and start again preparing for the show, I would definitely keep training muscle once per week, even during the preparation period. Now, when it comes to my clients, training muscle once per week has proven to be phenomenal for all of them. Now you can see Jonathan, who had achieved phenomenal results. He is even competing now. He's 57, winning shows. Just have a look. I mean, the guy is absolutely phenomenal. Training muscle once per week. If you want to see Andrew, he's a natural bodybuilder. Look at the change he has achieved training only once per week, every muscle group. And look at my son, Milos. He's been natural. He's 25. He has been training every muscle group once a week from the day one. So he started training, 60. Now 9 years later, he's still training the same training system. And Milos, you can see on these images, and he just looks fantastic. Now the good news is that I'm going to introduce to you Milos soon, because I'm doing a series on natural bodybuilding. So there are going to be quite a few videos with Milos, and he will explain to you everything about his training and diet. And I think a lot of you would like to hear and see from firsthand how he is doing it. I have always advised my clients to train either 4 days a week system or 5 days a week. So more advanced people, more advanced clients are training 5 times per week, and intermediates or even if some advanced can also have fantastic results with 4. So 4-day split would be day 1 chest and abs, day 2 back and rear delts, then day off, then day 4 legs, and day 4 would be shoulders and arms. So there are also other options, but this is one of those. 5-day split variation, as I said, for more advanced would be, let's say, day 1 chest, day 2 legs, then day off, then back, day 4, day 5 shoulders, day 6 arms, and day 7 rest. So this is how I structure the training system for myself. And I'm training 5 times per week, by the way, as I mentioned, in the same order, and also for my clients. Now, in this section number 6, which I hope you are waiting for, I want to talk to you about science behind recovery and supercompensation. So every time you train a muscle, you cause microtrauma. You break down muscle fibers, and that trauma is repaired within 48 to 72 hours. But strength recomposition, which is very important, take 5 to 7 days. So you see how much longer you need to wait for strength compensation. Now, central nervous system recovery often takes much longer than muscle recovery. This means that you grow between your training sessions and not during them. Well, many of you have come back to me and said, oh, you know what? You just don't want to listen to science. You don't want to read the papers. You don't want to consider studies and scientific research and this and that. I mean, hello, you're talking to me, all right? I've published 9 books. I'm in science all the way up to my neck. I'm a scientist, by the way, because I studied all my life. I studied anatomy, I studied physiology, biochemistry, I studied biomechanics, I studied nutrition. I've got a degree, by the way, in clinical nutrition as well. So you're talking to me about science, but what am I? Am I not science? What are people around me, my clients, my son? They're not science? What are we, aliens? We don't apply to overwhelming earthly science. We are different. And what about all these thousands, hundreds of thousands of bodybuilders who are doing exactly what I'm saying to you? This is not science. Well, this is what I call reality. And as Marx said, the truth can only be proven in praxis, meaning unless you can prove what you're talking about, just shut up, don't say anything. Now, who is doing those studies and researches? Did you ever consider digging up a little bit about this research, especially when it comes to muscle growth? I'm not talking about the physiological research about the nature of muscle tissue, the nature of vital organs. I'm not talking about the research of how to operate on the heart or on the brain. This is a different subject. This is a different topic. But we're talking about the research conducted about the muscle growth. And unfortunately, not many, if any, was done on trained athletes, professional bodybuilders, serious, advanced bodybuilders, none of them. So who is doing them, and who are the experimental groups which they are experimenting on? Well, the problem with studies they have been done around, and they're popping around everywhere, is that many of them use beginners or recreational lifters. So if you take a beginner or somebody who never did any training, and you put him on any type of training, 2 per week, 3 times per week, each muscle group, maybe 5 times per week, they will grow. So you will immediately prove that, if you put a subject on an experimental subject on training every muscle group 3 times per week, within 12 weeks we have conducted, they have put 4 or 5 pounds of muscle tissue. Therefore, that system is fantastic. Yes, for them. But what about me? What about you? What about other people who have been going to the gym for months or years or decades? That absolutely has nothing to do. It's outside our realm. Most of these researchers have done on college kids and nurses, people who have never been to the gym, people who didn't do anything with heavy weights, with high intensity. They don't even have a clue about these things. And then when they put them in some experimental environment, they come up to some results. Now, training intensity for those subjects is usually very low. They do quite low number of sets, and they do 8 to 12 reps. Often they do 3 sets per exercise. So if you do 3 sets for biceps or 3 sets for chest, you can train that muscle every day. So you didn't prove anything to me. When I do chest, I do 20, 25 sets with very high intensity, with perfect form. I stretch that muscle all the way. I contract fully. I don't rest too long. And the amount of stress that I apply to that muscle cannot be compared to some college kid who is participating some experiment. So sorry about that, but I'm not buying it. Studies often also mention protein synthesis. Protein synthesis, yes, is something that can be considered, but they return to baseline after training within 72 hours. But that doesn't mean that they are ready to grow again. That muscle needs time to recover and then grow. So you need this at 3 stages. So what they conduct is completely irrelevant to what we need for the real growth, for supercompensation, which peaks usually 7 days later after your workout. You need time to recover. So basically, the best way to prove this science, so-called this is not science, this is pseudoscience, is to try it yourself and see what is going to happen. Researchers often look at the muscles and muscle recovery. They look at tendons, ligaments, nervous system recovery. They don't care about it. So they have some particular agenda, I don't know what, from who, to prove something, and they do, as most of the researchers today have done it. But they are not fully comprehensive, and they don't tackle everything that is important for us. Again, training too soon will cause chronic fatigue, plateaus, and higher injury risk. These researchers never studied professional bodybuilders. Average gym goers, college students, elderly population, nurses, these are the subjects they pick and they experiment on them. And on the other side, you have 7-8 decades of bodybuilding, people who are training all out, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And they are not scientific. This is the best scientific research. So look at the world and you will see what most of the people who have succeeded in sport have done it. And this will guide you in right direction. Well, it's entirely up to you. So once again, these studies that they usually throw back to my face, and I've been told that I ignore them. Actually, I read them all. I know exactly what they're talking about. They don't replicate real bodybuilding training and recovery needs. So I would not consider them at all. I would rather look at the real world, because what matters is actually what is happening in reality, not what somebody biased wanted to prove during some studies, either to score a few points or maybe pass an exam or whatever. Completely irrelevant. So another thing that is very confusing is a lot of people think that all that is needed is 72 hours for complete recovery before you hit that muscle again. But this is not enough time for muscle to fully recover or actually grow. As I mentioned, you have tendons and ligaments. It's not just muscles. So anything less than 5 to 7 days, 7 days for most of us, you won't recover. Not just your muscle, particular one, but also your systemic recovery is something that matters in order to grow. Tendons and ligaments take much longer to recover than muscles. The problem is that they are not very well blooded. These tissues, they don't have a blood supply as muscle tissues. So for them, it takes much longer to fully recover. Because they have less blood supply, they have a much slower nutrient and oxygen delivery than muscles. So they will need longer, up to 7 days to fully recover. I remember very well when I was religiously following, training every muscle twice per week or twice in every 8 days. I used to do the 3-on-1 off system. I remember my tendons hurting, everything was, I was very fragile, but I kept going. This is actually where most of the injuries happen. When your tendons and ligaments are not recovered, the injury will be imminent. When it comes to systemic recovery and central nervous system, obviously that takes much longer, because as I said, if you train, for example, squats twice per week, you will hit your central nervous system so hard you won't be able to recover. So once you hit your legs with squats, you need to recover that whole unit of muscles and joints and connective tissues that has been included in, let's say, squats. And that is not going to happen in 2-3 days. And also you need to recover your central nervous system before you get to do it again all out. Another thing is to remember is that, and is quite overlooked, is recovery compared to growth. So when we are talking recovery, this is where our body actually fixes the damage, repairs the tissues that were actually used or broken down up to the point through microtraumas. And this period can be a little bit shorter than the full recovery or supercompensation needed for growth. So growth is supercompensation. You need time for adaptation and building that extra capacity to become stronger and to have bigger muscles. So for that supercompensation, it take up to 7 days to fully optimize that supercompensation, to allow not just for recovery, but to allow for growth as well. This is very often misunderstood. This is why when people switch from training muscle twice per week or 3 times per week to once a week, they experience great results immediately. So if you train too often, you will basically stop that supercompensation, and this is something that you're after. You're trying to achieve growth. The growth is all about supercompensation. So if you don't basically allow for that process, then you're just wasting your time. You're not going to grow. When I did it, when I started training muscle once per week, I basically exploded. I mean, just look at my son. He is always happy, never overtrained. Every time he goes to the gym, he's so excited, he's so motivated, geared up for a great session. And every time he does, oh, Dad, I've done 25 sets for back today. I did 7-8 sets of pull-ups, bent over rows, this and that, of course. So you hit the muscle. Now leave the muscle for a whole week and then go back again. When you go back again, that muscle will be overcompensated, will be bigger. And this is what he was doing, and he has been doing in last 9 years. This is why his results are, as you can see on these images, his results are fantastic for a natural bodybuilder. He doesn't even take vitamins. I ask him to take some supplements. Most of the time he forgets because he works and he goes early. He leaves the house early. And most of the time he just simply forgets. So it's just food and training. And that training is the key for growth. You can't grow. You can eat the best food in the world. You can take the best steroids in the world. But if you don't train properly, nothing will happen. So I hope that you have got the message. And once again, don't train like masses. So don't just look around. Listen to people who know, who have done it, who are doing it, who have not just personal results, but results with thousands of clients, as I did. And you will start making progress. Training every muscle once per week is not a lazy routine. It's very intense. Every muscle is trained fully, and this is why it's trained once per week. But it's strategic. And also, try, if you didn't, try for 8-12 weeks to train. Follow the advice that I have given you regarding a 4 or 5 day split training system, and see, let me know. I know what is going to happen, but I wait for you to find out. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If you didn't, and also like the video, share the video, and send me your comments. It's a great pleasure to get your comments and see you discussing on our community tab. So once again, let me remind you that I have published 9 books, and they're all available as ebooks on my website. You have the link down in the comments. Also on my website, you will find other services that I provide, like personalized training programs and personalized nutritional programs, personal training online, and also if you are in London, personal training 1-to-1. So I hope you will find something that will be good for you. And as you know, this is what I do. I'm here to help you, and this is what I can do to help you to grow faster and live better and obviously healthier life. So until the next video, I wish you all the best.